The legend is back. We have an exclusive first look at the all-new 2024 Toyota Land Cruiser. That's coming up right now on Driving Sports TV. Toyota's Land Cruiser is a global phenomenon. Around the world, it is synonymous with durability and capability, whether you go with the full-size 200 or the pint-sized Prado. Here in America, the Land Cruiser definitely has its fans, but so far, Toyota has been very stingy with the trims they've offered. In fact, the last time you could buy one stateside, it was 2021, and you would pay around $90,000 for the only way you could get it, a fully loaded, full-size 200 series. That's a lot of money for a vehicle that was capable, yes, but also was saddled with ancient tech and design. Under the hood was a thirsty V8 that produced 381 horsepower and 401 pound-feet of torque. It was connected to a standard 8-speed automatic, and it sent power to all four wheels through a torsion-based four-wheel drive system with a center-locking differential. Towing capacity capped out at 8,100 pounds. So it was expensive to buy, and it drank fuel like I drink coffee. And I drink a lot of coffee. American buyers, it seemed, just didn't have an appetite for that kind of a Land Cruiser, gravitating instead to the smaller and more cost-effective 4Runner, the Lexus GX, or jumping up to the Lexus version of the Land Cruiser called the LX for just a little more money. So here we are in 2023, and Toyota has announced the all-new 2024 Land Cruiser. In terms of design, this is not what I was expecting. It's a lot more like, well, the FJ than the Land Cruiser that just left our shores. I mean, the Land Cruiser Series 200, that was big and round, and this, it's got edgy looks and it's got cool headlights. I think I like it. In the back, we have some typical Land Cruiser touches. You get a flip-up glass, which is great, so you can load stuff in without it falling out if you're trying to get to equipment when you're on a hill. Power liftgate at this trim level. Now, one thing you'll notice here is that we do have a flat floor, but it is rather high. That's because this is a hybrid, and they needed a place to put the batteries, and they're right there. Oh, but you do get a full-size spare under there. Up top, we have roof rails, so you can strap gear up. Of course, you will need to add crossbars and a roof rack, but you got plenty of room on top to do that. I can't wait to see this thing rigged for proper overlanding. At launch, the tires on this trim level will be a Michelin LTX trail tire, which of course is mostly an all-season. It's a 265/70 R18. I like the wheel design. The tires could give or take. I am a little concerned about having a black lacquered wheel though, because this is going to scratch something fierce. I love the fact that we have a step here so you can easily get to your equipment in the back. It's a nice touch. Now you'll notice the door pull, it does have a sensor for the lock, but it also actually has a traditional key. So if you like to use a key, knock yourself out. Yes, it's coming to America. And this time, Toyota has made it a lot more palatable. It's going to start in the mid $50,000 range. So you're probably wondering, what kind of a Land Cruiser do you get for around $50,000? Well, that's this one here. See, it has smaller wheels, doesn't have all of the leather interior bits, doesn't have the surround view camera systems. It is the bargain basement version. But do note, even this one comes with the torsion center differential and a locking rear. So that's pretty awesome. On the inside, this is definitely a downgrade over the top trim. You get fabric seats and they are manual adjustments, remember those? You also get a smaller digital display up front, but it is digital and it provides lots of good info. And then the infotainment is also a much smaller display. Now, in terms of the important things, you do get a center locking diff here for that torsion center. You get a rear locker, you get 4-high 4-low, it is full-time four-wheel drive. And then you also get crawl control with hill descent, but you do not get multi-terrain select, which is kind of an interesting choice. In terms of safety, this one even comes fully loaded with Toyota Safety Sense 3.0. You have adaptive cruise control, blind spot monitoring, collision mitigation, and a rear view camera, but no surround view at this price point, which again is somewhere in the $50,000 range. I do like the fact that even on the base trim, you still get the pop-up glass in the back. Love that. but you don't get the power liftgate, which I'm actually okay with because power liftgates, they can just be so slow. Now, like the other vehicle, this is a hybrid, so you do have batteries under here, which lifts the floor, but it is pretty flat, so that's good. And of course, you get a full-size spare underneath, just like the other one. Other things you get on the inside here, plenty of cup holders, as well as an AC power socket. Another interesting change on the entry-level model is that it gets the Dunlop Grand Trek PT22 tires. These are actually much smaller. They're a 245/70 R18. And again, you get black painted wheels, which will scratch like mad. So if you do plan on going off-road, I do suggest getting a totally different wheel and tire package. If you think this looks a little familiar, it's probably because it shares quite a lot with the Lexus GX550 that was unveiled just last month. This smaller package will make it a lot better for tight trails compared to the larger global Land Cruiser 300 series. Based on Toyota's global truck platform, the new Land Cruiser is still designed to be an unstoppable force, ready to tackle the harshest of environments. At launch, there will be 3 trims, all with a single powertrain. The iForce Max hybrid system with a 2.4-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine. This produces a peak 326 horsepower and 465 pound-feet of torque. That's half the cylinders of the outgoing 200 series and more power across the board. And they didn't cheap out on the good stuff. No matter what trim you get, it has full-time 4-wheel drive with a Torsen center differential that is lockable. It also has a rear-locking differential. A lot of people do use their Land Cruisers for towing, and this one does come with a tow hitch back here. So that's a win, and I like the fact that it has a cover so you don't have to look at it all the time. Because this is a smaller Land Cruiser, towing capacity has also been reduced. Now it peaks out at 6,000 pounds. On the inside is kind of what you expect. This is very similar to other modern Toyota vehicles. You get the widescreen display featuring the latest in Toyota infotainment. We also have all the off-road goodies, including drive modes, MTS. It also has crawl control, a center locking Torsen differential, and a rear locker. That's something that was not available on the last Land Cruiser that was sent to the US. We have 4-high, 4-low, no 2-wheel drive option. You can also disconnect the sway bar with the push of a button. Yeah, so basically you have all the stuff that you really need. And I have to say, it looks pretty cool. Can't wait to drive this thing. In addition to the 2 trims that we looked at today, there will also be a first edition. First edition trims get the retro-styled headlights that are also seen on the base trim, rock sliders, and a special interior treatment. So where does that put the brand new 4Runner that should be announced in the near future? Here's my speculation. The new 4Runner will be based on the same Land Cruiser Prado platform. Instead of a full-time 4-wheel drive system, I expect it'll have the same part-time system that you see in the Toyota Tacoma. Probably the exact same powertrain as well. The same 2.4-liter turbocharged hybrid system because Toyota's all about that these days. There will probably be a non-hybrid version of the 4Runner as well, which gives you an entry-level price much lower than the Land Cruiser. And of course, I think there will be a 4Runner TRD Pro, and I think feature-wise, it'll still have the same part-time 4-wheel drive system, but with all the extra goodies you would expect, and it'll probably price align with the entry-level Land Cruiser. That is all just my guess, but I think it sounds pretty reasonable. As for the new Land Cruiser, I am very much looking forward to putting it through its paces by early next year. This new one is going to be built in Japan, and deliveries should start in spring of 2024. So what do you think? Is this the Land Cruiser you've been waiting for? Post your comments below. For Driving Sports TV, I'm Ryan Douthit. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, share our videos. We make them for you, and I hope you enjoy them.